You missed some important news from the LGBTQ+ community this week. To ensure you are current, we are recapping that important news. Here's what you may have missed.
Supreme Court deciding if anti-trans law should go into effect. What could be the single most important transgender rights case in American history has reached Chief Justice Roberts' desk. He's being asked to allow a West Virginia law banning trans student athletes from competing with the gender they identify with to go into effect. Becky, a middle school student in West Virginia, is asking to be allowed to play in girls' sports, but is prevented by the new state law. A jury never got to decide the case, as the judge alone ruled against her in summary judgment at the circuit or trial court level. She's asking the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals to hear the case, and they granted a stay during the process. West Virginia and its allies are asking the Chief Justice to lift the stay and let the law go into effect. He could make the decision or refer it to the entire court for a vote. No matter what is decided now, the Fourth Circuit will likely hear the case and eventually could end up on the High Court's docket, which would then set the stage for a seismic ruling on how trans people are treated under the law. This story really confuses me a lot because I was a bit perplexed as to how the process works with the court and with each individual judge, and then as they pertain to the circuit court. So could someone explain that to me a little bit?
Well, this story is, it is very inside baseball, and it is very procedural. Basically, a judge, for whatever reason, in the Fourth Circuit, which West Virginia falls under, said, okay, I've listened to all the arguments and I've read the evidence, so I'm going to decide the case. No jury, nothing. I'm just going to decide it, and he decided it for West Virginia. Now, the people who lost, Becky and her family, and the ACLU are going to appeal this to the Fourth Circuit, which oversees West Virginia. And while they're doing that, the Fourth Circuit justices said, okay, we're not going to let this law take effect until we've heard it, till we've made a ruling. Now, West Virginia's people are saying, wait, we're going to move out of the way. Justice Roberts, who oversees that court, will you please say, okay, the appeal can go forward, but let this law take effect while we're doing it. So basically, it's a procedural thing, and they want the law to go into effect, which would basically harm trans kids now, as opposed to harming them later, should they win the case. But the real meat on this story, the real thing about it is that this says the High Court is going to take a look at it, whether Justice Roberts takes a look at it individually, or all of them say yes or no on the stay itself. They will probably hear this full case within a couple of years. And in a couple of years, it could be very different. We may have a different president. We may have a different administration. So it's imperative that we pay attention to this court case now and make sure that we at least have a federal government that will stand behind this kid, even if the state is not.
Right.
Does that make it any clearer?
Yeah, but I can see why I was confused.
And I tend to think that the Justice Robert and anybody on the Supreme Court faced with this decision is always going to be very conservative leaning and is going to say, let the process work itself out through all the stays that it needs to go to before it gets to us, right? So any sort of, advancement of the process, I think, is not something that they would favor. They're going to let it go through the Fourth Circuit. And after that, once it's challenged, then it would rise up, right? And so I think that it's going to be a very conservative ruling that we're going to be able to see. And it's going to be, let's see how it plays itself out.
Keep watching the only television news in the world from our LGBTQ+ community and stay informed on everything that is important for and about our diverse LGBTQ+ community.